Paying more to rent in San Diego, one factor that may be driving up prices.
I could take off riding now and I could ride through 10 or 12 gang neighborhoods and they'll all have the same reaction. Oh man, what's up? You know, hey, that's cool, homeboy.
Saddle up. The urban cowboys who are keeping the Old West alive in the birthplace of gangsta rap.
Did you see?
I know.
You did.
I did.
The smile.
I saw.
One of the things we have to explore is when is it one is supporting the other, and when is it both of them against the world, and when is it them against each other?
A fresh twist on a Shakespeare classic. The San Diego production satisfying a mission, creating female characters who defy stereotypes. KPBS Evening Edition starts right now. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ebony Monet. The average cost to rent in San Diego County has gone up nearly 8% since March, and vacancy rates for apartments are as low as 1% in some areas. The new findings were presented at a meeting of apartment industry leaders. KPBS reporter Susan Murphy has more.
San Diego County's rental market is the least affordable it's ever been. The average cost to rent, more than $1,700 a month. Two-bedroom apartments are more than $1,800. The rise is attributed to a lack of new housing development.
And we've been neglecting that for a very long time, which is why we're where we're at.
Alan Pennico is executive director for the San Diego County Apartment Association. He says new housing construction is not even keeping up with birth rates.
We don't have enough housing for half the population of Southern California. We're not building it. It should have been built this year, or it should have been built all along, and we literally don't have half the housing we need. That's a pretty bad situation.
The apartment's vacancy rate across the county is slightly above 2%. The rate for one-bedroom rentals in East County is 1%. Pennico says developing a new apartment complex from conception to completion takes an average of 7 to 10 years. Susan Murphy, KPBS News.
With 52 days to go before the November election, we want to check in on our voter registration tracker. KPBS reporter Megan Burks joins us with the latest.
More than 1.5 million San Diegans are registered to vote. That represents about 72% of those who are eligible. Registration had slowed to a crawl after the June primary, but we did see some big gains for the Green and Libertarian parties. According to the latest tallies from the registrar, the Green Party saw a 14% jump this summer. Libertarian voters bumped up about 5%. Independent elections analyst Vince Vasquez says these increases may reflect dissatisfaction with nominees Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump.
There's still a lot of voters that want to cast their ballot this election cycle, but really haven't gotten around your conventional choices, and I think that's reflective in this higher percentage of third-party voter registration.
Green and Libertarian voter ranks are still in the thousands. That's far less than the hundreds of thousands of registered Democrats and Republicans. Vasquez says the major parties didn't see much of an increase this summer because so many had registered to have their say in the contested primaries. Megan Burks, KPBS News.
The candidates for the first presidential debate have been locked in, with two third-party candidates locked out. Today, the Commission on Presidential Debates says Libertarian nominee Gary Johnson and Green Party nominee Jill Stein were polling too low to qualify. The first debate is set for September 26th. The presidential race tightens. A new poll shows Donald Trump in the lead over Hillary Clinton. The USC LA Times poll finds Trump leading Clinton 47 to 41%. This is because more Trump supporters say they plan to vote than participants supporting Clinton. Other polls with different methodology find Clinton in the lead by about 2 percentage points. Governor Jerry Brown blasts drug maker Mylan. Thursday, Governor Brown approved a bill allowing business owners to stock up on EpiPens, the drug used to treat people having life-threatening allergic reactions. He also wrote a letter to the manufacturer criticizing the spike in price. A 2-pack of EpiPens cost more than $600. This is more than a 500% increase since 2007. In response to public complaints, Mylan has announced plans for a generic version of the drug that will cost $300. Answering the call to protect female janitors on the night shift, a new California law introduces a measure to stop sexual assaults. Governor Brown signed the bill inspired by the Frontline documentary Rape on the Night Shift. Companies that employ janitors will now have to register and receive licenses from the state. The bill also requires sexual harassment and violence prevention training for janitorial workers. San Diego County's unemployment rate is down. Today, the Employment Department released August numbers. They show 5% of San Diegans are out of work. That breaks down to 80,000 people. The number is down from a month before and down from the same time last year. Statewide, California's unemployment rate for August was higher than the national average. Prosecutors in San Diego and 3 other California counties have filed a lawsuit against debt collection giant I-Corps. The $10 million suit accuses the company of predatory harassment, saying they subjected many people to repetitive calls for months, even when they didn't owe money. The complaint also lists violations for calling consumers too early in the morning and too late at night. The civil complaint was filed in Los Angeles. Ever wonder what law enforcement agencies do with everything they confiscate from criminals? From laptops to sneakers? Reporter Midori Spinadori gives us a sneak peek at the auction, allowing the public to seize the opportunity for a bargain.
It takes a 189,000 square foot building to hold all the state's surplus, and one person's trash is another person's treasure.
So we have 6 saddles. This is the first time I've ever seen saddles here.
Used horse saddles, computers, computer supplies, car parts. All of it is up for auction after being retired from state offices or seized in crime busts. Some pieces are expected, others completely random.
Well, sometimes we get items like this, a violin that was lost at an airport and came to Los Angeles, and we picked it up, and there it is. It works.
And then there are the knives. Boxes and boxes of knives confiscated at airports.
We have the opportunity to go down to Los Angeles and San Francisco and Burbank and retrieve those knives and bring them up here, where we'll separate them out into brands, and then we offer them to the public for sale.
This is all stuff that was confiscated from passengers at airports all around California. There's a box of butter knives, all sorts of tools, including a drill, a meat tenderizer, and even a samurai sword.
Hundreds of people turn out for these auctions looking for a deal, but a deal isn't always a sure thing.
It depends on who's here, it depends on whether they've done homework and they know what things are actually worth.
These auctions bring in about $100,000, which is used to keep the sprawling state surplus department going. And as long as people keep trying to bring knives or tools onto airplanes, there's plenty of inventory and work to be done. Near the state capitol, Midori Sparandio reporting.
Today, the Downtown San Diego Partnership turned a small amount of the urban landscape into a playground, at least for a day. KPBS's Steve Walsh was there.
So we're out here in front of Donut Bar in downtown San Diego for Park Day, where they transform parking spaces into parks.
Hey, it's too windy, you gotta keep them low. Oh, so close.
A parking spot at 4th and C Street became a backyard complete with cornhole.
You know, when you live downtown and you work downtown, you don't have big, luxurious backyards that you can play in or beaches that you can go lay out in, so we make do with what we have, which are some parking spaces.
Here you go.
At sites around downtown, artists and businesses remade parking spaces into tiny front lawns with space for games and riding bikes. The event started in San Francisco in 2005, but it has since spread to cities around the world. It's a chance for artists to remake a portion of the city, at least for a few hours. This is the 4th year they've been doing this in San Diego. From what we're told by organizers, this event gets larger every year. From downtown San Diego, Steve Walsh, KPBS News.
A street corner in City Heights will soon be the place to go for international foods like pupusas and Jamaican jerk chicken and Baja hot dogs. The corner is El Cajon Boulevard and 44th Street. The space is empty right now, but starting next month, it will be the home of a weekly international food market to be called Fair at 44. The nonprofit City Heights Community Development Corporation is one of the organizations getting the land ready, and they're working with first-time vendors to help them launch their operations at the market.
So we have already established vendors, and then we have folks that are just starting out.
The public can have a hand in the transformation during an event happening this weekend.
If the San Diego Zoo has a taxpayer subsidy and $100 million in the bank, why does it cost more to visit than any other zoo in the U.S.? We visit the zoo and other stories on the KPBS Roundtable tonight at 8:30.
Gas prices have been rising over the past few days, but overall the price of oil has dropped, and that's having an effect on the recycling industry. Here's what's going on. Manufacturing companies usually buy recycled plastic, but these days it's cheaper for them to buy a barrel of oil to make the plastic they need. That means money troubles for recycling centers.
We can certainly, look at upping the subsidies, but that money has to come from somewhere else in the beverage container recycling fund. So you don't want to end up robbing Peter to pay Paul in a fund that is kind of precariously close to being break even anyway.
Depending on the size of a plastic or glass bottle, Californians pay a 5 or 10 cent recycling fee. They can get that money back if they take their used bottle to a recycling center, but as centers close, residents will have fewer places to earn that money back. State regulators were talking water storage in Sacramento today. They're trying to set ground rules for using a $2.7 billion water bond that voters passed 2 years ago. Just this week, UCLA released a study saying drought will become California's new normal. Regulators say storage is the key to getting through dry times.
It's actually a real big opportunity for Californian water for us, and we're starting to do so already. Come together and think beyond our little silos that we have traditionally been in during these kind of old water wars of, the early 20th century.
Officials say California has become one of the most water efficient areas in the state. Beach weather is back. Warmer conditions are expected this weekend and on into next week. Shanae Shocker has that in tonight's forecast.
Nice weather continuing across Southern California. The radar not really showing too much going on, as is usual for this time of year. So we take a closer view over the past 6 hours. It's been pretty dry and pretty clear from the coast inland as well. We're going to take a look at your temperatures for tonight. 62 degrees for your low, partly cloudy. Those clouds will build and maybe causing some travel delays come tomorrow morning, but they'll also begin to break up as well. Tonight for the rest of the county, out in Mount Laguna, 43 degrees, and down in Campo, 46 degrees. Borrego Springs in the low 60s, and out in Mecca, though, they're sitting in the upper 60s, so a warmer night, but still quite nice. As you take a look for the setup on Saturday, warmer conditions coming across the county and up into the northern part of the state. Inland, a high pressure system is in control of the northern Four Corners states. That's bringing some pleasant conditions as well. Head out to the coast for your 5-day outlook, and it's looking quite nice throughout your weekend and into early next week. Temperatures on Saturday beginning in the mid-70s, your lows in the 50s, so quite chilly in the evenings. That's going to build on Sunday. You're going to hit the upper 70s at 79 degrees. Monday and into Tuesday, that temperature in the upper 70s into the low 80s. And by Wednesday, we'll start to see it cool off just a bit. Now we're going to head out into the inland areas. Temperatures on your Saturday starting in the mid-80s, and they're going to build into the low 90s. So definitely a warmer day under the sun on Sunday. They'll begin to drop back down throughout early week and into midweek as well. That sun definitely shining. And we're going to end with your lows in the middle of next week in the 60s. So looking pretty clear for the most part. Into the mountains we go, and we're seeing sunny skies for your weekend. A great weekend to get outdoors and enjoy time with the family. Sunny and pleasant and very warm on Sunday. We're in the 80s for your weekend. As we head into early next week, there is going to be a shower possible on Monday and a thunderstorm in spots come Tuesday. But for the most part, the weather is looking very nice. You're going to get back up into the upper 70s come Tuesday and Wednesday. And last but not least, we head out into the deserts where we're seeing triple digits for the weekend, 102, 105 degrees. That high pressure system really making an impact out here. It'll begin to lessen come the beginning of the work week. Could see a thunderstorm in spots because of that daytime heating and monsoonal moisture on Tuesday. But other than that, it's looking very nice out west. I'm Shanae Shocker, KPBS News.
3 years ago, the San Diego International Airport went through a $1 billion expansion. They dedicated a small chunk of that money to the arts, calling it a calming distraction. Now they've added another form of artwork, the circus. KPBS video journalist Katie Shulov was at last night's performance.
Long security lines, rushing passengers, lugging baggage, delays, stress. This is the norm at most airports. But on Thursday, it felt entirely different in Terminal 2 at San Diego International.
She was happy, she's loving it.
It's only Autumn Brown's second time flying, and it's her first time seeing juggling. Same goes for 9-month-old Charlotte.
I was surprised. I've been to an airport once, and it's just been like this. There's never been anyone playing games or anything. It's just kind of been what you expect at an airport. It's nice to have because it's hard to occupy her.
Yeah. The biggest thing is when someone's coming back from a flight and they have kids, and their kids are just exhausted and crying and just a mess. And for us to just come up and entertain the kid for a minute, it makes a huge difference.
This troupe of 8 Fern Street Circus performers has been surprising passengers every month since April through an artist-in-residence program with the airport. San Diego-based Fern Street Circus was selected after a public call for applications. Now they receive a monthly stipend.
It's the fleeting moments that are the most amazing and wonderful when somebody goes, what? And smiles and then goes off, and I'm sure when people get on a plane and then they're all talking, wow, did you see the circus performers there? Or they tell their families when they get home. I think it's pretty wonderful. And it's great for us.
The airport's Chris Chalupsky says San Diego is the first U.S. airport to offer an artist residency program.
The whole aim is here for them to walk out of this airport and this residency with new content that was inspired by this environment.
And I wish none of your flights have this much turbulence.
Fern Street Circus's grand finale show at the airport will be at 7 p.m. on Friday, October 21st. It will be called The Hectic and the Still. Katie Shulov, KPBS News.
A new bill in California aims to keep pets safer. Governor Brown has signed a measure requiring pet hotels and kennels to meet new requirements. Employees will have to check on animals daily and adopt new hygiene standards. Boarding kennel owners will also have to install fire alarms. The bill marks the first law regulating pet hotels and kennels in the state. A new bundle of joy at the National Zoo may offer hope for a critically endangered species. This Borean orangutan, born on Monday, marks the first birth in 25 years. You could see the newborn clinging to his 19-year-old mother. Zookeepers were getting her ready for motherhood for the last 3 years. There are 2 more females at the zoo. They are trained to act as surrogates if anything were to happen. Is Pokemon Go a public health problem? Researchers at San Diego State and UC San Diego think so. They turned to Twitter to see how many users and news sites reported incidents of distracted driving because of the game. Researchers say there were 110,000 incidents in just 10 days.
We are calling on the makers of augmented reality games to make games inaccessible at driving speeds. Also to make games inaccessible for a period after driving speed has been achieved. Because even now, where some game features are limited at speeds above 10 miles per hour, we see people playing at stop signs or while slowing down for red lights.
Researchers say game makers can use the technology that's already on cell phones to keep people from playing the game while they're behind the wheel. Compton is known as the birthplace of gangster rap, but long before rap was born, the city was a cowboy town. And AP reporter Krista Furrier tells us if you look closely, you can still see it.
When Andrew Hosley has any downtime, his favorite thing to do is saddle up.
I mean, I have a regular 9-to-5 job, but you know, I'm a cowboy.
But you won't find this cowboy out on the range. Instead, he rides where he lives, in Compton, California.
It's very urban. I mean, we kind of make our own trails. There aren't any cutout trails really, and you know, we kind of just go through the streets that we know that we can be safe.
Safe not just from the traffic, but from violence and gangs. The city is best known as the home of gangsta rap, with some of the roughest neighborhoods in the country. But Hosley says the horse provides a welcome distraction.
I could take off riding now and I could ride through 10 or 12 gang neighborhoods and they'll all have the same reaction. Oh man, what's up? You know, hey, that's cool, homeboy. I go through all of them and I get a warm welcome.
And on warm nights, Hosley and other Compton Cowboys can be seen continuing a tradition dating back decades in the part of Los Angeles once known as Richland Farms.
A lot of people are surprised because they don't know that the horses are here. A lot of the kids love it.
To help the community stay connected with horses, the Compton Junior Posse trains youth in equestrian and leadership skills.
Almost every time I come out here, I see there's like cowboys like walking on the streets with their horses all tacked up and like ready to roll.
It's really interesting that you still see our cowboys here, and it's not a wavering, it's not a dying way of life.
The intersection between urban and rural still very much alive in Compton. Krista Furrier, Associated Press.
I'm Judy Woodruff. On the next News Hour, John Yang brings us the second of 2 reports from the battleground state of Ohio. That's Friday on the PBS News Hour.
Playwright Edward Albee has died. Albee won 3 Pulitzers for such works as Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. Some critics consider him one of America's greatest playwrights. He died today in his home in Long Island. Edward Albee was 88 years old. Moxie Theatre strives to showcase female playwrights in plays with dynamic women characters. Its current production, Peerless, offers a reimagining of Shakespeare's Macbeth. When KPBS arts reporter Beth Accomando went to preview the performance, she discovered what the curse of the Scottish play is all about.
Hail! What?
Staging Shakespeare for contemporary audiences is always a challenge. But when you're dealing with Macbeth, you also face the curse of the Scottish play. Moxie Theatre's artistic director Delicia Turner Sonnenberg has firsthand experience of this.
We are performing a version of the Scottish play, and I'm afraid somebody may have said it out loud without doing the ritual of spitting and turning around 3 times, and we are now dealing with the consequences.
We were supposed to have a preview tonight, and the preview got canceled due to some flooding in the theater. Anytime there is a production of the Scottish play, you're not supposed to actually say the name in a theater. That bad things have happened.
Just never say it for any production.
Ever. Yeah. Ever.
But Moxie Theatre lived up to its name and braved the flooding to run scenes from G. Hay Park's Peerless, which the playwright describes as a riff on Shakespeare's Macbeth, but set in a high school.
The future. My future. Our future.
I think the themes are very similar, and you can track it through for ambition and wanting the kingdom to be the top.
In Peerless, instead of the throne, the throne is college admissions.
And instead of Macbeth and Lady Macbeth, we have M and L, twin sisters who will not be denied entry to the college of their choice.
They take one, still could get in regular, or something could happen.
The play also draws on real-life twins Jennifer and June Gibbons, who were dubbed the Silent Twins because they only spoke to each other.
They went on an arson rampage, I think, and eventually got committed, institutionalized, and they would be in separate cells, and these creepy things would happen where the nurses would find them in the exact same position at the exact same time, but in different cells.
It was just their connection that they have together that is similar to ours, where we kind of speak a different language, where it's just that expedited speech that we have.
Oh, did you see?
I know.
You did.
I did.
The smile on his fat, his
fugly
fat, his veiny fat face.
The twins, whenever they speak to each other, they finish each other's thoughts, and even though they're speaking in language that we understand and not in cliques, their language is very different together than it is with the other characters.
I think it was good that we knew each other and actually had a personal relationship, because for me the script has been so hard. It's so great, but it's
one
so
of the
hard.
hardest things I've ever worked on.
Yeah.
Even out of character, actresses Dana Wing Lau and Jill Kaneshiro finished each other's sentences. Their intimacy works well in conveying the dynamics of the twins' relationship.
One of the things we had to explore is when is it one is supporting the other, and when is it both of them against the world, and when is it them against each other.
Peerless reimagines Macbeth in a bold new way. It also satisfies Moxie's mission of highlighting women playwrights who dare to present female characters that defy stereotypes. Beth Accomando, KPBS News.
Peerless runs through October 9th at the Moxie Theatre on El Cajon Boulevard. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.